Hi everyone, welcome to my week 5 discussion about risk management. Today I'm going to talk about the risk register, how to control risk, and the risk assessment chart. I'll also talk about my team's approach to the risk management plan and how to be subjective regarding risk responses. First up is the risk register. This is used to document both threats and opportunities for the project. The risk register is evaluated throughout the project lifecycle. In her ProjectManager.com YouTube video, Jennifer Witt suggests the risk register should include the cause, probability, impact, proposed responses, risk ownership, and a status column. Additionally, each risk is numbered and categorized. The register should be referenced often, and it should be reviewed weekly at a minimum. The next topic is project risk control. Essentially, this is the process of implementing the risk management plan. Jennifer Witt of ProjectManager.com identifies project risk control as the process of controlling risk and impacts to the scope, time, budget, and quality standards for the project. Project managers use a variety of inputs to analyze threats, outcomes, probability, and impact. Plan components analyzed include the time management plan, the cost management plan, the scope management, and the quality management plans. The team will use these components as well as a thorough analysis of the project constraints, deliverables, and subject matter expertise to implement a risk mitigation process. Another tool that is a part of the risk management plan is the risk assessment chart. This is created in the planning phase and used to examine a risk's impact to the project. It's also commonly referred to as a probability and impact matrix. This chart compares the likelihood of a risk occurring with the risk's project impact. Inputs for this chart include data from the risk register and risk assessments. Risk probability is correlated with risk impact to establish an overall score, usually defined as high, medium, or low. This rating is used later to prioritize risk responses, resources, and mitigation techniques. The risk mitigation matrix is the last component of the risk management plan that I'll talk about today, and it details the team's plan to mitigate risk and its impacts. The matrix will identify the risk, response strategies, the probability and impact matrix score, methods to prevent the risk from occurring, as well as the team's response strategy. Responses are usually categorized as mitigate, avoid, transfer, retain, or escalate. The risk mitigation matrix is the tool the project manager will reference when an active threat is identified. This allows the project manager to have a prepared response strategy when identified risks come to fruition. Additionally, the risk mitigation matrix will attempt to identify secondary risks that may result due to the mitigation. Next, we'll talk about subjectivity in relation to identifying a threat's likelihood of occurring and its impact. Many risk impacts will be determined by subject matter expertise and qualitative data. Because each project is unique, it can be difficult to associate quantitative data to a threat's impact and mitigation strategy. To help quantify risk impacts and the likelihood of risks occurring, the project manager should compare qualitative data to quantitative data. For example, subject matter risk assessments can be compared to historical data, estimates, recent trends, and stakeholder input to identify each risk's probability and impact score. Secondly, it's important for project managers to understand what risks project sponsors are comfortable with. In a study published in 2019 to evaluate the value associated with risk management plans and mitigation techniques, Pell Williamson and his team noted that perceived value regarding the risk management plan stems from a balance between what stakeholders perceive to be a risk worth mitigating and the cost of mitigation. As the project manager evaluates risks, impacts, and responses, this will be an important factor to consider. Williamson's team noted that oftentimes stakeholders do not perceive risk mitigation strategies to be a worthwhile investment, and allowing risks to occur may be a reasonable alternative. When the project manager is assessing risks and response strategies, it's going to be important to consider the stakeholders' risk threshold and balance this with a thorough evaluation of realistic techniques and outcomes. Lastly, how is my team pulling all of this information and these techniques together? We're using historical data, evaluating trends, and we're closely reviewing the project plan milestones to identify areas that could be impacted by unforeseen risks. Once these risks were assessed with the probability impact matrix score, the team assigned mitigation strategies for each risk. Lastly, each risk is assigned a risk owner who will monitor the risk and determine when a response is needed. The risk register and risk mitigation matrix will be reviewed weekly and incorporated into the other project plan components. Thanks for viewing, and I look forward to connecting with you in the discussions. Have a good night.